Peoples. Once again, BIGCED, industry code sign, back again. A very special guest today, and we've met him like in 1876. And, for people that's tuning in for the first time, it's called My Friends Are Better Than Yours. I've been doing this for literally years as far as journalism and things of that nature. But I'm sick of speaking to celebrities. When I say celebrities, I mean like just to do an interview because I have some celebrity friends.
Right.
But the thing is, I always want people to know that like I want to start showcasing people I've known for years, people I know that are doing things, and I'd rather speak to them because I'm sick of amplifying other people's and then it just goes to the next interview or whatever. But the people I feature on here are people that I've met over the years, either dealt business with, been friends with, whatever the situation is. If they're here, they're here for a reason, and I definitely want to champion them for what they do or what they're doing or what they're about to do. And today we have DJ Chubby Chub, and I know people like you should do an intro. I do what I want. This is my show, but I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself. But like I said, we've known each other literally since like we both started in this industry, which is
90s.
Yeah, I think like 3 years ago. But I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself and then just take it from there. It's on you.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? I go by the name of the DJ Chubby Chub, the heavy hitter, Mr. Heat Rocks, better known as DJ Chubby Chub.
Good. We both from the Bronx.
Bronx.
We both came up in this school called hip hop, and I don't know the exact point. I never know when I meet anybody because I don't even know what I ate this morning. So, but I do know that once we did meet, like it was like I'm the type of person people know about me is that when I meet people, and if I like really fuck with them, that means that they're good people. Unless just because I just need to just be
right.
cool with them. But and like I said, I can't even remember how we met, but I know that you were part of Original Flavor from the Bronx, and I think I was already working in the industry at the time because I think I started.
Paper Thin was already out.
Yeah, yeah, and I know I met like you, Dame, and all of them at the same time. Maybe it's at a show, at a party. Because I used to do parties. Like I said, being involved with Video Music Box, of course, being in New York. And like I said, when we Bronx people get together, like we just have this thing. So being that, like I said, we both grew up in the Bronx. I know that's where we both got involved in the hip hop as far as fans. What made you get into hip hop as well? You're an artist because DJ is an artist as well,
right?
And actually, you can start from like your entry into the industry because, like I said, I always tell people the entry into hip hop can be different because we can be as fans. That's our entry, but I want to know the entry point. I guess you could go back to your entry point as far as your love for hip hop and then how you got into it as
right.
A career.
All right, so for me, the biggest structure was I'm 100% Puerto Rican.
I didn't know that. I knew you were Spanish, but I didn't know you was 100%. But I didn't know that. So
Mama y Papa, 100%, speak it fluent. It so happens that I grew up in a Spanish home, and I remember it was like I want to say 1977, 78. Around this time, 8-tracks was the thing. And my cousins, they were a little bit older than me. My cousin Alex was playing Cold Crush on 8-tracks. For those that don't know who Cold Crush are, Cold Crush is a legendary group that you would listen to their mixtapes before they even called them mixtapes because they were just tapes.
They were just tapes, exactly.
They was just regular tapes. They used to be just 60-minute tapes on Sony. And at the time, 8-tracks was converting to tapes.
Yeah.
So they had an adapter. So he would put the tape inside the 8-track so he could play. And hearing that, it was just, it just was mind-boggling. Because this was, this is pre-hip-hop. This is hip-hop at its, like, all you heard was a lemon to a lime to a lemon, cuts the beats up half the time. So
yes, y'all.
that whole Shimon and all that lingo that was really running around, we weren't too enthusiastic to it, but it was the music and the harmonization that caught me. Like, so I'm probably like what, like 9 years old at this time. I was born in 1969. So I'm already 9, 10 years old, right? I'm listening to this and it's like gratifying to me. It's like, oh my goodness, this is it.
Yeah.
But then getting further into it was knowing Charlie Chase was Puerto Rican. And my cousin's like, yeah, Charlie Chase is Puerto Rican. He's hanging with the guys. You know what I mean? And everybody's like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? Because when we was growing up, blacks and Puerto Ricans really didn't get along too well. Let's be honest.
Especially in certain parts of the Bronx.
Yeah, especially in certain parts of the Bronx, we wasn't getting along. But it just so happens that Charlie Chase was Puerto Rican, and all I heard was the rubbing of the record. It was the love rap, the do that, that do that, the do that, and just hearing the do that, do. Moving forward, outside jams is happening, where you see a live DJ outside.
Yeah.
You know, this is when kids was running free outside and you was cool before the sun came down. You had to be upstairs.
Exactly.
So me seeing the local DJs that was in my area got me more impressed into wanting to be that. Like, I was the little fat kid in front of the rope and they used to be like, fat boy, get off the rope. Like, fat boy, get off the rope. But I just want to learn. Like, I just want to see what's going on. Like, y'all got this cracking, it's popping out here. Like, I want to know what's going on. Moving forward, my god brother, he was DJing. Yeah. And he had 2 turntables in his house and he had everybody over there. My god brother Diz, they used to call him Mickey. He used to DJ and I was trying to be in his crib, trying to learn how to DJ. And he'd be like, nah, you're a burger. This is when they used to call you a burger. Hey, you know, when you say you trash, they like, you're a burger. You're never gonna make it. So I was like, all right, watch. I'm gonna get my stuff. And then I ended up practicing and I ended up meeting a lot of DJs. You know, like in the Bronx, it was so different that everybody had something. Like, one person had one turntable, another person had another turntable, one person had one mixer, and we would all go to that one person's house and we collectively put it together, and I take my records and they take their records. So it became that kind of a essence for me to really understand what it was to DJ. Yeah. You know, and the pinpoint of understanding music was everything, like the soul, the break beats, the average R&B songs that were disco and things like that you would be like, wow, this is energy. Like, this music was energy. And that was it. From there, I just started going. I kept practicing and believing that I could do it, even when I was a burger. And I surpassed everybody.
Exactly. I wanna actually stop you right there, because now that, like, I as long as I've known you, I've never, like I said, I knew you were of Latino heritage. I didn't know you 100%. Now, the only reason why I'm going to ask is because there's a controversy a couple of months ago with Lord Jamar, the Fat Joe, and everything like that. And it's funny because what my take on it was, because there was so many differing opinions, but from my observation from growing up in the Bronx and having Spanish friends and being involved in hip hop, I told people that, like, with Fat Joe's comment about like 50%, whatever this discussion was, I've always said to people that I get it from what Joe was trying to say, because I knew a lot of Spanish people who were involved in hip hop back when I was starting in hip hop as well. And I understand. And then the whole FBA, I didn't get involved in that conversation because, like I said, everybody have their own experiences. But I just want to ask your take on it, only because, like I said, you're actually Spanish. You actually were there, like, basically at the beginning of what the era I call commercial hip hop, because there's still a lot of theories about when hip hop started and things of that nature.
Right.
But we're about the same age because I was born in '68, and like I said, we came around the same time. And I'm pretty sure you, like I said, now finding out like your heritage, like I'm still kind of shocked because, like I said, you do look black, and I always tell people that coming up, it could be some people think I'm Spanish. A lot coming up, people think I was either Dominican, whatever. So what is your take? Because like I said, I don't want to take away from that, but it's like bugging me because, like I said, I never knew that. But what was your take when that whole controversy came out? Like I said,
to me, it was just being ignorant. To me,
okay.
that's ignorant. That's not. Let's be honest. We all been in this game together. Everybody's been in it some way, some sort. If you think about one of the records that was put in place for a lot of music, is a Celia Cruz record. That's a salsa record.
Yeah.
And then there's African music that was put into it that before Afro beats that nobody really paid attention to. That there's records that was already solidifying. It's a unity. That was a unity. That's not
exactly.
That's not saying we're not here or they're not there. I just find that ignorant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me, that's just ignorant. Because if you look at Fantastic Five, they had Whip a Whip was Spanish. Ruby D was Spanish. Fearless 4 had Tito.
Tito, yeah. I'm about to say, yeah, every crew had somebody else that was Spanish.
There was a DJ named DJ Disco Wiz that was a Puerto Rican.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, there's so much melee for nothing. Because at the end of the day, we all been in the same thing, in the same roof, and believing in the same thing. So there's no real splitting that up for me. For me, I just find that ignorant.
Yeah.
That's just somebody looking for something to say just to say it.
Yeah. And I've always said to people, it was definitely territorial because based on where you live and the people you hung out with, that's like I never looked at it in that way or in that fashion, even when people talk about it, because I'm like, I had a lot of Spanish friends who were into hip hop, and I didn't look at them like in any different way than who they were as opposed to their heritage, because even with the music, as you stated, it was always a combination.
Right.
It was always a combination. There was always some type of, especially in the Bronx, you would hear people playing salsa or whatever type of music, and then like combining it with the hip hop beats or the bass line. We just jammed to it. We didn't care. It was like, that sounds hot. That's dope. And
that's what New York was built on. Built on a melting pot. It was a melting pot. So like New York is where you had Puerto Ricans, blacks, everybody in one room, and they partied and they had fun, and there was no discussion about who's better or whatever. Because everybody had their portion of whatever. Let's not forget, Crazy Legs was dancing in these parties.
Even the graffiti artists.
Right. Cope too. Like all these people that was out there, it's embedded for everybody. Everybody had a part in it. The only thing that everybody's always going to state is where it started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's always going to say
argument.
Everybody's going to say it started here and it started there. For us, it started in the Bronx because we was in the Bronx. I wasn't in Brooklyn. I wasn't in Queens. I wasn't in Jersey, which I don't think Jersey was even in the equation at the time. But I'm just saying.
House music.
Nah, because then you would have to go to Baltimore down there and go to Delaware and Chicago and all that with house music. You know what I mean? That's a whole nother melee.
Exactly.
But as far as the hip hop, for me, it's always going to be the Bronx.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? I come from 174 University. I was born in Cypress, in the Bronx. What I grew up on is priceless. Like, the aspect of going to Crazy Eddie and buying 2 records, or going to any record store and be like, yo, I heard this record listening to radio. I was listening to Africa Islam, and they was playing these break beats, and they went like this, and they'd be like, it's number 2 and 3, pick those. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So for me, it's like, I cherish those moments. I cherish what it was to really enjoy hip hop.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up
the scale of even seeing a Sugar Hill label.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I grew up in the Soundview area. So it's like, they had those jams, and then across the way was Bronx River.
Right.
So it's like, and even though I was too small to go to these areas, we would hear about it. And then, like you said, everybody had the cassette tapes.
Everybody had the tape.
The older kids would come back, yo, listen to this, or
Yeah.
this is the big boombox era. So we sat in front of the building or in the park and just listen to this
Man,
thing
till the batteries died, and we had to chip in for batteries.
You know, it was definitely a great time, and I enjoyed the experience. And even back then, even though like I wasn't rapping or DJing or doing any of the elements, I was still involved because I was always a fan.
Right.
Always a fan, and watching the people grow up in the neighborhood. Like you remember the Boogie Boys?
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot one of the guys lived right down the block from me. He was a boy. So seeing somebody that on a block actually on a record in a video, like that was exciting. And then a couple of years later, when I got to high school, that's where I met Slick Rick, Dana Dane, MC Search. So my hip hop journey was like seeing people at the very beginning. So I definitely have a deep appreciation for what went into the early days to what it is now.
Absolutely.
Like, crazy. So
for me, it was Special K from the Treacherous Three.
Yeah.
Lived right down the block from me. And to find out his brother was Tila Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
And their youngest brother is my best friend to this day, called Tone. And, being there, watching them rehearse and seeing them get ready to go to UK before anybody going out of the country, like witnessing that was crazy. And not mention, but I'm gonna mention it, going to RKO Fordham to see Wild Style the day it came out with the Keaton family. Special K, Tila Rock, his brother, his mother. We went to go see the matinee of the movie the first day it opened, and everybody was in there. I felt like a little kid in a candy store. Cold Crush was there, Fearless 4 was there, Cool Hurt, and all these people. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Knowing that they were in the movie and they was there for the movie.
And it wasn't even like on the level that is where it is now, videos wasn't even popular at that point in time. So it's like you said, seeing what we saw and coming up in that time and then actually becoming involved. I tell people like the just experience it. And this is why I hate when I see some of these shows, or even back when like people would be on panels, people are talking about things that we lived. They're talking about things that they read in the papers or they saw on video, but we actually lived it. And that's the experience that no one could ever take away from me.
Right.
And then being involved with Video Music Box, like at the inception, like, and growing up with Tuffy, and then Tuffy becoming a host, things of that nature, and then me actually becoming involved in videos. Like, it's like that time was like, and I think I'm pretty sure that you can agree that we knew that hip hop was going to be as big as it became.
I really couldn't say that because at that time they were saying, "Oh, it's gonna die. Hip hop is gonna die. Hip hop is gonna." They was so
bad. Yeah.
They were so
like
especially my parents. They were definitely like, "Oh, nobody wants to hear that doom 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 all day long." My mother used to be like, "Turn that doom 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 on," but in reality, she was singing hip hop, Rapper's Delight, because it used to go doom doom doom. Doom, 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 doom. And she like, turn that doom, doom, doom off. So my mom was crazy. But I ain't pay attention to that 2 years later. But, the understanding of what it became is a blessing because we could say we were there for it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, from seeing artists and seeing people that was in the game that been on stages, but you probably didn't get to see them.
Yeah.
You saw or heard it, but you didn't really get to see them. Like you heard tapes because you had those tapes. But imagine what it would have been like to see Cold Crush battling Fantastic at that time. They wouldn't let me in that because I was too young.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or my father wouldn't let me outside. But to experience the hip hop as it grew, that's a blessing. Like I thank God every day for all my blessings and lessons when it comes to hip hop and being able to tour the world and because of hip hop and because of, doing things that I loved.
Yeah.
Because the hardest thing is, we go to college, we go to school, and we don't end up where we want to be because it's not a profession. You know what I mean? But it became a profession. It became a career. It became something that we believed in, so we stuck with it.
And I think definitely like just knowing that. I think for me specifically, because like I said, it wasn't Romeo. I'm trying to think of Rudy's hip hop name in the Boogie Boys, but actually seeing like the people, and like I said, and then me going to high school and then seeing like hearing Slick Rick with Dougie Fresh, and like I think knowing that I know these people and they're actually doing something, and just like you said, you with T-La Rock and the family, things of that nature. And then I think for me, I realized because then going to Video Music Box when things was like steadily coming up, like that made me believe it more so because it was actually happening and I was witnessing it as opposed to it being a pipe dream, because our parents told us like don't even think about it and things of that nature. And of course, our parents knew better. And back then there was no Run DMC was just bubbling. So even Run DMC wasn't there yet where it was like we were like, we want to be that, because all we had were the tapes. Nobody was making money off that. People may have been making dollars doing shows and things of that nature. But even back then, remember, crime was at its worst.
Yeah.
So, we wasn't allowed certain areas, because there was 3,000 murders back in New York, like in the early 80s.
Yeah.
Like, and they can sit like if it's 400 now, that's a big crime stat. No, like people were getting killed during the day, like in front of people.
Broad daylight.
Yeah, and remember back
broad
then,
daylight.
Hip hop definitely had a bad name because it was people in the streets, doing certain things, and like I said, but I don't know. Your entry point, like you said, was being involved with Original Flavor, and I forgot. I remember meeting Dame because of his family, like the Darian Dash and all of them, Darren Tadler and all of them. I met them like Trends of Culture, like so many different groups, and just knowing people and then seeing how these things picked up. And like I said, the Video Music Box angle, like I said, I know like what you were doing as a DJ. Actually, you know what? Let me cut it down a little because I have to. And like I said, this was definitely something that we were definitely talk about. But I've got to talk about your weight loss. I got to talk about the fact that Chubby Chub, knowing the Chubby Chub that I met, like we all like. I was a skinny guy. I've gained weight, but no, you were like definitely a big man.
Yeah, I was
at the age.
I was definitely fat.
Yeah,
I was definitely fat.
and like I said, and like I said, I knew I was gonna end up jumping around, but I know when I saw, I think on Facebook a couple of years ago, I'm seeing pictures of you, and I'm like, that's not Chubby Chub. I'm like, I don't know who that guy is, but I got a contact and this, that, and the other. But to see like, like I guess we could talk about your weight loss journey because it was just amazing, just like realizing that was actually you. And then I actually ran into you at Lord Finesse's thing in Jersey. And I'm looking at you like, yo. And I know you get it all the time. I know you've gotten it over the years because it was such a transformation. And I told you then, and I'm going to repeat it again, like I'm proud that, you did what you're doing and it's still a journey.
Still in it.
And
it's a lifestyle.
I'm trying to lose 40 pounds, and you lost like 2 bodies,
You know what I mean?
Like,
the biggest thing is, I never planned it, right? It was, I've tried numerous of times. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've tried before the time that I officially stayed with it. I've tried numerous of times. My son used to tell me, come on, Dad, let's go to the gym. My son runs 5 miles. No problem. My son was benching 315, no problem. I would go with him and I'd be like, yeah, I'll go today. And then they'll go tomorrow. Then I fade out. Like, yeah, I'm good. And mind you, I was borderline diabetic. I was on insulin for 7 years. My doctor said, if I don't change my life, I'm going to die. I didn't pay attention to that. Just like minority people don't care. We're going to be like, whatever, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. We're going to figure it out. But lo and behold, thank God, I didn't plan it. I was doing Twitch during pandemic.
Yeah.
And what happened is people don't realize if you walk anywhere from 6,000 to 10,000 steps a day for 30 days, you lose weight without you even realizing that you're losing weight.
I'm gonna get on that again when this interview is over.
So moving forward, I was doing Twitch during pandemic, and I used to do 5 to 6 hours for 6 days straight. This is just not just. I was trying to entertain everybody.
Okay, got you.
So I was moving back and forth, entertaining and dancing. Mind you, I had the biggest stomach. At that time, it was 400 pounds easy.
Yeah.
I had the biggest stomach, but I was trying to, move and make people laugh and trying to get people in tune because we're going through a sad time. Yeah. Music is irrelevant. Music ain't doing what it was supposed to. So we playing classics, we playing things we forgot about, and keeping people structure in that whole element of Twitch, which I'm supposed to do that today. But so it's like it becomes I'm moving around and I'm wearing a 5X hoodie at that time. A 5X at that time. And this is 4 years ago, because June 9th will be 4 years that I'll be celebrating consistency of being in the gym and eating right and working out and being diligent and all that. So I was like, the hoodie is mad big. I was like, no, I gotta go get a smaller hoodie. So I went in, and mind you, Champion run big already.
Yeah, of course.
So I'm already wearing a bigger Champion just so that way the stomach, it don't sit on my stomach. So I'm like, yo, this is mad big. So I go get a sweater, another Champion, and get a smaller one. So it was like a 3X. I was like, wait a minute.
That's a big difference.
This is crazy. This was like, in that instant, the next morning I woke up and I went and signed up with LA Fitness. I had canceled my Planet Fitness, signed up with LA Fitness, and got a trainer. Okay. I got a trainer, and this trainer was 27 years old. His name is Christian. And Christian pushed me so much that I never stopped. And I can tell you that I'm thankful. I'm so thankful. And then I ended up traveling the world and training with different people, and everybody was helping me. And then I got another trainer, and the trainer I got, which is the trainer I have now, well, with another trainer, my main trainer though, one of my main trainers, his name is Dean. He's in Queens. He took a chance on me, and he was like, I'm gonna mold you. And that's what happened. I was molded. Like, if you look at me, I'm solid. Like, it's crazy. Like, you people pay to get through these things, but they don't realize how much of a process you really got to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Like, somebody can push you, but if you're not getting yourself mentally locked in, it's not going to work, because you're going to always feel like, I don't see results. I don't see this. I don't see that. I go to the gym and they look like, and he looks like. If you live with that, you ain't never going to do it. You got to look within and believe in yourself. And, at 55, it's the hardest thing for anybody after 50 to even keep an endurance.
Yeah.
Your metabolism is low. Testosterone is low.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that play against you when you get older, because you don't realize that ultimate word of, if you don't use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
You lose that. You lose certain things, like with its lifting in different angles, different motions of your body. Certain things in your body is weak. Like, trust me, when I first started, I couldn't even plank for 10 seconds. Now I could plank for 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And lifting is really, the thing now for me is more building body muscle now. Now it's building muscle. Like I lost all the weight. Only thing I got to do now is lose body fat. I went from 63% of body fat to 29%. So if I get down to 15% in body fat, I'm good. I ain't trying to be a bodybuilder. I just want to be fit and healthy, you know, and to add that I'm not on no medicines. Like I'm on a minimum of blood pressure pills because it's inherited in the family, you know, but I eat well, I sleep well, I take care of myself. Those things are very important when it comes to this journey of trying to lose weight and the focus of knowing how to eat. Once you learn how to eat is what helps you more than anything you could think of. It's not Ozempic. I don't disrespect anybody that's on these meds or anybody that does a surgery. There's so many things that you can do before you do it.
Yeah.
That you got to push yourself for it.
Because I know some people get caught up in trying to take the easy way out and end up gaining whatever weight back anyway.
Yeah, especially like those that do like let's say the sleeve or the lap band.
Yeah.
That's like a rubber band. Once it stretches, you able to eat. The only thing that's not like that is gastro.
Yeah.
Once you do the gastro, there's no turning back because they take a certain percentage of your stomach out. Now, if you end up gaining weight on top of that, that's crazy.
Yeah, that means you wasn't really trying to do what you were supposed to.
You really just put yourself at risk. Even when I see people that go and do surgery, the actual BBLs and all that, and then end up getting the weight back. Like, why did you do that? So you could do that again.
Like I said, it's the easy way out. And it's funny because I got to give credit to DJ Scratch because, you know, he's been doing his thing as far as the workouts as well with the push-ups. And DJ Wiz, being DJ Wiz, you know, we've been throwing parties for years. So we said we're going to start doing that because like you and Scratch, like y'all like detail it on social media. And that gets me because I'm like, we're all about the same age.
Right.
But DJ Wiz is like 70. But no.
Shouts to Wiz.
And what I really get sick of with us is when one of our contemporaries die, we get on this, yo, we got to do better for ourselves. And the next week we're back at Burger King or whatever it is that we were doing that, you know, our contemporary or our friends had done. Because even when Scoop had passed away, like, you know, I heard the conversation, I heard people, and it's like, there was somebody I'm not going to name that I saw like about a month later had that real talk, and then they're doing the drinking and the thing. I'm like, money, we just had this conversation literally a month ago when Scoop passed away, and you're basically still doing the same thing. And it's like, yo, and it's like, I'm just letting you know that, you know, we can't continue to say these things and not put forth the effort. You know,
it's a lot of that. But I mean, you know, like I said, and in this life of trying to, how can I say it, of trying to rectify your life.
Yeah.
You know, some people are so they just stuck. You know what I'm saying? And they don't have the capability of saying, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if you're around somebody, you can't force nobody to go to the gym. You can't force nobody to eat the way you eat. You can't force nobody to say, hey, take a little step here and there. My thing is for anybody, it's one day at a time.
Yeah, definitely.
My hashtag is no excuses Chub. I made all the excuses I was gonna do. I don't have that no more. That's my thing. My other hashtag is Chub Fit. You know, my next year, like they said, the Knicks in 26. So my thing in 26 is I want to train people that was what I was.
Yeah.
Obese.
Yeah.
And show them that it's possible.
Definite example.
Because, you know, a lot of people that's like the way I was, our biggest thing is intimidation. Like we could have all the confidence in the world as a big person.
Yeah.
Like I always had confidence. There was no lacking in confidence. I'm from the Bronx. I ain't have no, you know, the whole little snapping on you fat and all it. I grew up on that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't have that mentality as they get older. A lot of people go and they get into depression.
Yeah.
And they get into their mind where they feel like they're not good enough. And everybody is capable to be good enough. Everybody has a chance at will to make themselves better. All you got to do is take a step at doing it.
Yeah.
But you got to lock in. You got to want it. Like, I used to wear 5X in sweaters, 52 in pants. I'm wearing 34, 36 large shirts.
I think I'm bigger than you now. I'm like, what the hell? I mean, you're taller, but I'm saying like as far as
Yeah, so it's like, you know, it's already embedded. So it's like for anybody that's listening or anybody that has a reason to say I don't want to do it or I'm scared to do it, don't be. You can do it. Anybody can do it. If I did it at 54, at 55 years old,
yeah,
you can do it.
that's impressive in itself. Definitely.
Yeah, like all my trainers say that. And then they also say, I should have never been that big. You know what I mean? Like my body should have never been that big. But it's all the McDonald's, all the White Castles, all the Dunkin' Donuts, all this and all that.
Yeah.
And just letting you go in the whole pie of pizza to your face and soda and all that stuff played a big part in my life. Especially as a DJ, like, you know, my nightlife is crazy.
Yeah, I just about to bring that up too.
You know, nightlife is crazy. You got to know when to say, nah, I'm not doing that. Nah. The next, you know, this is why half of everybody that's in the industry, when they wake up, they're sluggish. It's because of everything they ate prior to the next morning. And we don't realize that. We don't take that into accountability of what we eating. It's what they say. You are what you eat.
And I also know that we as a society, at least in America, we've gotten away from natural foods as well. Everything is processed, and I know that definitely has an effect because our bodies are not processing what we're putting in because we're not supposed to really be eating it, or at least eating the amount that we're eating.
Right.
So what I've been doing recently, I've been like putting, staying away from the processed foods because I had to think about it myself because I've gotten back on my health journey, but I've had to think about it where, like, my parents are from the South. You know, my family's from the South, and they would eat and eat and eat and eat, and they wasn't getting, like, they would get sick, but not the type of sicknesses we have where there's more cancer because there's more chemicals we're putting into our bodies. Now, before it was just a matter of just eating too much, but the thing is, even they was eating too much, it wasn't processed foods.
Right.
So they were getting sick in a different way where they were still able to either recover if they caught it at the right time. But the sicknesses that the people that we know have been dying in family, it's like things that 10 years ago that was unheard of because it wasn't around because all of this food that we're eating is definitely poison. And I'm saying to myself, I got to get away from some of the stuff because I know that when I'm looking at like I don't eat cereal, like there's certain things I just don't eat anymore because it's like if I look at the ingredients and I can't pronounce it, I feel I shouldn't be eating it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I stopped eating a long time ago. And trust me, I used to love a Captain Crunch berry. I used to kill and Frosted Flakes. Oh my God.
Yep. Fruity Pebbles, all these
Nah, Fruity Pebbles trash.
I
Once
used to
that
love
milk hit,
it.
Fruity Pebbles, you put that milk in, it be mad soggy, B.
I was about to say, but that was a diabetes soup.
Nah, that's what Frosted Flakes was. You had sugar already, and then you added sugar on top of it. That was definitely diabetes.
Yeah, and so there was a reason why we, like I said, there's a reason why we as children was always so hyper because all that sugar, and then in our later years, and then we're not as active, man.
My mom used to send me to sleep with strawberry Nestle Quick and 2 Twinkies every night. If it wasn't Twinkies, it was Pathmark vanilla cookies. The whole row. I'm telling you, it was bad, yo. Like when I think about all this food that I ate and everything that I let go, like it's the hardest thing. Like people be like, you don't crave sweets or not? I really don't. Yeah. I really don't. Like it's like very minimum. Like if I do eat a cake here and there, you know what I mean? But it's not like I used to fiend for oatmeal pies or or Swiss rolls, like, you know, little Debbie cakes. Like those type of things used to be the thing because they were so quick to grab and go. You know what I mean? And if you sat home and watched VCRs, this is when VCRs was popping, you over there eating a whole bag of chips, mashed soda, 2-liter soda going in less than an hour. You know, that's the type of things that I really start thinking about where I'm like, yo, this is crazy.
But we have to think about it because like food is actually a drug. If
It is a drug.
Because it's like
it is.
You get used to a certain type of food, that's what your body's going to crave.
Yeah.
And
it's the hardest addiction to beat.
Exactly.
Being a foodie is the hardest addiction to beat. It's just as bad as being a dope fiend. It's just as bad as being a crackhead because you'll go to a point where you got to try to figure out how do I adjust myself? How do I get away from Kool-Aid? How do I get away from Tang? How do I get away from soda? I'm Puerto Rican, so we grew up on Tang.
but this is what I tell people because when you think about it, you have to eat.
Yeah, you do gotta eat, but you don't gotta eat to live.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is it's not like narcotics where you don't necessarily need it to survive. So you can get rid of it, but with food, you need food. But the thing is, we just have to eat the right type of food because we're going to be like, I gotta eat. So
yeah, we always gonna say we gotta eat, eat, because you're gonna start hearing in your stomach. You're like, oh, I gotta eat. But in reality, you need to rethink what you're gonna eat. Exactly. You gotta really pace yourself at what you're eating. Exactly. You know, you gotta implement snacks that'll implement that meal aspect, so you can have 4 meals in a day. So you could get your little 2,000 calories that you need of protein that goes along with the carbs and everything that you want to eat.
Yep.
So that's when it becomes a thing. Like, but it's true. Like, food man, I was a foodie. Like, man, especially after the club, all the alcohol you consume, we go to any restaurant, forget about it. And especially
you've been on tour, so it's like you're getting like different types of foods and at all types of hours and
so like being on tour was terrible because you would eat whatever you could get at that moment. So that was killing people. That was killing us like, you know what I mean? Like, only thing open is McDonald's. Anywhere in the world is McDonald's. Anywhere is McDonald's. The only time that I love
salad. And you're not eating salad.
Nah, nobody eating a salad.
Exactly.
A fillet of fish would probably be the only thing that you could consider probably healthy at a time where you're not eating the burger and all the salsa and all that stuff. But there's still sauce on the fish. But it's a better consumption than you having everything else.
Yep. But that's good. Because like I said, I think the most important thing that we have to deal with at our age is definitely, some people's like, the money. I'm like, yeah, but if you're not healthy, you can't make money.
Yeah, that's money comes and goes.
Yeah.
Your heart is only one.
Exactly.
Your heart goes is over. Not just your heart. Nowadays, diabetes is taking people's limbs.
Yeah.
Diabetes is bad. Diabetes is a real situation where people really got to take, especially for those that are type 2, you have a chance.
Yeah, I'm type 2. I'm diabetic, so I'm type 2. So yeah.
So I was borderline diabetic where I had to use insulin for 7 years. Right? And then as soon as I changed everything, she was like, "Oh, you don't need that no more." That's
my next step. That's what I'm working.
Once the AC1 came down and I started realizing all my glucose and everything, I was good.
Yeah.
She was like, "Oh no, no more of that." Like, I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I didn't plan it, but it planned to be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And even right now, it's like people be like, "How did you age younger instead of older?" Well, one thing I could say is that I wasn't really a drinker. I wasn't really a person that smoked. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of things that play a part in your own life being. You know what I'm saying? And also depression is what makes a lot of people old.
Yeah.
Your face starts to turn into this little, I don't feel like this, and but you don't realize how much struggling and all that is in your face that's taking that away from you. So that's people that I grew up with, and they look older than me.
People are surprised at my age, and even like when my hair is out, I definitely look older. But when my hair is braided, I look.
Man, look, I got a whole joint. Is an afro. It's just, you know what I mean. But it's crazy. You know what I mean. At 55, that I turned my whole life around, and I'm willing to help a lot of people as well. I try to help a lot of our own peers. Like people that are DJs, I try to tell them like, yo, y'all got to do this, because by the time, you know, we losing everybody so quick, because just the reason why is because men don't like going to the doctor. That's the problem. The problem isn't that you get sick and it's whatever, and then you wait and you wait. No, the problem is nobody likes to get yearly checked because they're afraid of getting these answers. I could guarantee there's at least 100 million men that have not, in their 50s, got a colonoscopy.
And I hate to admit it, because I literally spoke to my doctor recently. I have to schedule one because I haven't taken one yet. So you're right.
Crazy.
Like I said, and it's really ridiculous. Even to be tested for prostate cancer and things of that nature. And it's like, you know, it is scary if you find out that you have it. But the point is, you find out, and you got to take whatever necessary steps to get rid of it, you know, before it gets to a point where it's there, it's done, and you're done. And
for me, you know, thank God, my mom's is a cancer survivor.
My mother too. My mother twice.
Oh, my mother once, and she's a cancer survivor. And thank God, for 15 years she's been cancer free. And that's what really stirred me to always check my colonoscopy or my blood work, like doing all that stuff. But I've always been a person that's been to the hospital. You know, I've been to Bronx, Lebanon. I've been to Lincoln. Montefiore. You name it, I've been there.
When I lived in Harlem Hospital.
You know what I mean?
But speaking of your mother, we have the same birthday.
Yeah, the 26th.
You know what? Because I saw your posting on Threads on March 28th. My birthday. You probably posted on the 28th, but that's when I thought you said happy birthday greeting.
My mom's birthday is the 27th. My bad. She's the 27th.
And mine's the 28th. But when I saw the posting on the 28th, I was like, oh, we have the same birthday. So
it's crazy that week. So the 27th is my mother's birthday, my best friend's birthday, the 29th, and my son's birthday, the 31st.
Oh, wow. Salt from Salt and Pepper, Kwame, we have the same birthday.
That's crazy.
So, yeah.
Aries are good people.
Some other people, Lady Gaga, you know, a little list, but yeah, Aries is definitely, you know, great people. So
good people.
You know.
Good people.
But, and I'm sorry to cut you off, because like I said, when you had mentioned your mother, I was like, oh, yeah, by the way. You know. But you know what? I'm glad that we had like the health talk and the losing weight. But I also want people to know that if they don't know, because you're from the Bronx, but you're still doing radio.
Still doing radio out in New England, Providence, Rhode Island. I was doing Boston, jamming out 4-5. Now I'm doing this new station. It's called The Juice 93.7 Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. And you can catch me on Twitch. And you can catch me at any local gym. But
I also see that shout to, you know what's so funny? I just realized like I've had several DJs already. I had DJ Wiz, Grandmaster D. Well, I was supposed to scratch on Instagram, and I don't, but anyway, the reason I brought that because I also noticed, and because that's the reason Grandmaster D came to mind. Like Grandmaster D, like is on a flight like every day, it seems. But I always see on your social media posts, you're still doing parties as well.
Yes. So I'm thankful. I'm still thankful to do parties. You know, I was traveling with 50 Cent for the last 10 years. Yeah. I DJ for 50 for 10 years. And I still get booked and do things like that. I'll be in Canada July 20th.
Okay.
I'll be in Montreal. I do parties, in the Bronx. I do parties in Providence, Boston, Connecticut. I'm thankful that I'm still in the game. Came from the era where your name you had to have something to go with your name. It wasn't social media. It was your name. You building your brand, your name. And I've been thankful for that and still being relevant. Yeah. For a lot of people that don't know who Chubby Chub is, that's a blessing for me because I still gotta introduce myself. And now even more, like to even people that I've known for years, when they see me, they be like, "Nah, you ain't Chubby Chub."
Exactly.
Chubby Chub, I know, wore glasses. He was mad big. Like, what? Nah, you ain't Chubby Chub.
I mean, between me and you, I think you got darker too. I was like,
nah, I've been the same color. Maybe today, because it was hot outside. It was blazing hip hop and R&B today.
What do you say to people that people may not even like question your name at your size?
Oh yeah, everybody be like, you can't call yourself Chubby Chub no more.
I think that's the first thing I said to you. Like when I IM'd you, I was like, "You're not Chubby Chub anymore. You can't even go back. You can't."
Everybody says that. Like if you read all my comments, everybody said you got to change your name. You can't call yourself Chubby Chub no more. I'm gonna be Chubby Chub, but pretty soon it'll probably be Brolic Chub.
Hey, that transformation.
That's the only thing I could say. But I'm gonna always be Chubby Chub. I'm still at heart. Still a fat person, kid that love cake, but I just can't eat it. You know what I mean? But I'm like I said, I thank God for my blessings and lessons. If I can install to anybody in the world that feels being overweight is harsh for yourself and doesn't have the mentality to get it done, take steps at it. Take your time and do it. You can do it. You can change. You don't need a doctor to tell you got to take 19,000 pills. You don't need nobody to tell you, oh, you can't do it. Go do surgery. Surgery should only be as the last resort.
Yeah.
And what I say when I say last resorts for me, it would have to be I can't bend over and tie my sneakers.
Yeah. Or you're gonna die in 2 hours if you don't get it done type thing.
Well, I'm gonna be honest. My doctor told me before anything, said that if I don't take care of myself, I'm gonna die. Yeah. At my heaviest, I got a video up. I did this TV show called Dance 360 with Kel from Keenan and Kel and Fredro Starr was the host. In that video, in that TV episode I was 440 pounds. Damn. I was wearing a whole Carcanine outfit, which was curtains. When I look at that video, I'll be like, wow. Like, and even when I look at myself and I look at old pictures, I'll be like, it's crazy. Like, I had the biggest stomach. I could remember sitting down and I used to eat food off my stomach, the plate. I used to just put it on my stomach. I have 2 phones and I put both phones on my stomach.
I can say one thing. You're definitely inspiring me because I'm like, I need to lose at least. Well, I'm at 210 now, which is my lowest weight this year because I've been as high as 240, which isn't can be you. But for me coming up, I was only 130. I did the muscular thing. I got muscular, then all of a sudden I'm like, I don't want to work out anymore, but I'm going to continue eating. So it's on a different level, but I'm still too heavy for my size.
Your height.
Seeing what you've done, and like you're literally like a third of the person. So it's like, I'm saying to myself, like I said to myself, like I have no excuse. But actually, speaking of somebody that actually was in a much heavier space, like I have no other choice, and I'm going to start walk. Well, I can't walk now. Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to say I can't walk, but the summer is my enemy. I can't do anything above 80, but I still got to put forth the effort because, like I said, just having this conversation with you, like I said, it's just making me making me feel bad for myself because I'm like, damn, like
Well,
why?
you shouldn't feel bad for yourself. It
No,
should just
and I
make
get it.
you.
And
It
I
should
get
make
what
you.
said.
It should make
Yeah.
you definitely say, "I got to take a chance and make it
Yeah.
happen."
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because I never want nobody to feel bad. I want people to feel like I can do it too.
Yeah.
I can look just as good as that person that's sitting in that gym that got all these muscles.
Yeah.
I can do that too. Granted, you can do it too. I did it. You can do it. There's no such thing as can't. It just takes, look, simple sitting in a chair, standing up from the chair, sitting down, getting up, sitting down 10 times, 3 sets.
Starts with
That's
movement.
an exercise. That's a movement. That's something that helps you, helps your core. Like we lose core. We don't realize how important our core is. You know, me being as big as I was, it was hard like getting out of a sofa. I used to be so big that I gotta roll over and lean and then to get up. You understand what I'm saying? Like me and technician DJ, we used to play this game like, let's see if you can get up without touching anything on the sofa.
Wow.
But later on in life, that's really a thing.
Yeah.
You know how hard it is to be 300 something pounds and just get up out of the sofa?
Nope. And I'm not
without doing this, because
yeah.
your core has to be.
Yeah.
You have to have core. And that core means everything. We take that for granted.
Definitely.
That's why people be over there, my back hurt, this, and my legs, they be feeling shot. Yeah, because we're not giving ourselves the ample enough time to say, oh, let me get myself in stretching. Let me get myself and say, oh, I can do this. Or let me just practice picking up bags. Like, I can remember when I used to bring groceries upstairs, it would take me about an hour to bring 20 bags upstairs because I would do it in increments.
Yeah.
I would sit down for that long, then go down and go get the rest, then come back up. Now I can carry 20 bags and no problem, and a case of 40 of water upstairs because I have the core.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I worked at that. So it's possible. Anybody can do it. They just got to take time and do it. You just got to say, you know what? I give up. I give up not trying to make it happen.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question because, like I said, because like just doing this and coming up as big as you were and then losing that weight, I know everything we do affects our mentals. How is your mental health along the way? Because I don't care what anyone says. When you go through any type of change, it might not be drastic. And when I say mentals, I don't want people to think that I mean like you're going crazy or, for lack of a better term. But just how is your mental state? Because that's definitely a thing because it's a dramatic change.
The gym helps you with all that.
Okay.
To be honest, the gym helps you with all that. The only thing that I've always, and I still could say that I deal with is body dysmorphia. Sometimes I'll be feeling like I'm still fat.
Yeah.
When I know I'm not. But it's because I've been so big all my life that I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? Like even when I look at an old picture and I go, wow, that's really me. So I start blaming my friends. I'll be like, yo, you my friend and you let me get this big.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'll be like,
it's so funny you said it because I used to tell girls that I'm like, y'all never pushed me away when I started gaining weight. So I just kept going. So I get it.
So I say it, I go and I'll be like, y'all let me get like this. Y'all supposed to be my friends. Like I'm talking about friends that I got for 40, 50 years.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, y'all clown me, all the fat, you fat this, you fat cow, you big bear, like all this. And I'm like, y'all allowed me to get like that. Instead of saying, nah, Chubb, don't eat that. Yo, Chubb, don't do that. Yo, Chubb. And I'll be like, oh, this is crazy. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's weird because I still deal with that. Like, I still feel sometimes, even when I work out, certain form, I don't gorilla stance well for certain things, right? Because it's kind of like a gorilla stance you gotta have when you do certain exercises.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be feeling like I'm mad fat. Like it'll hit me like, oh, you fat. Like, nah, I'm bugging out. Like, why am I doing that? Then I get right to it. But mentally, it's the best thing for you. All your thought process, all your ideas, things you could be going through, you take it out on them weights, you take it out on these exercises that you got to build yourself to make yourself better.
I think for me, it's going to be different because I grew up skinny. So it was opposite for me. So when I get back into that shape, I'm going to be like, I can't believe I let myself go. But like I said, I know for you, since like you were always big and that's what you're used to. So I think like it definitely plays on your mind because like you said, you still have the mind of a fat person,
Right.
in a skinnier body.
Because if I tell you right now, right, when I was 17, I was 250 pounds. But then that's big compared to everybody that was looking like Rudy from Fat Albert. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was dumb
I don't
skinny.
even laugh, but yeah.
Everybody was dumb skinny. Like, when I was growing up in the 80s, everybody was skinny.
Yeah. Including me.
So me, I was a fat person, but that's the weight I was not too long ago. And I was like, yo, that's crazy.
Yeah.
At 250, I was 250 at 17, and that was fat. 225, I'm over here looking like a skinny person now. Yeah. Everybody like, yo, you too skinny, man. How you get that thin? Like, that's crazy. And the first thing, you on Ozempic? You did a surgery? Nah, man. It's just I didn't really document my journey. That's why there's bits and pieces now. That's why, because a friend of mine told me when I first started, he's like, yo, don't post, because when you post and you stop going, they're going to be like, he quit. And that was a good thing that he did that he told me that, right? So I never post. I just was going to the gym. So if somebody saw me, they saw me. Yeah. And when people used to see me, they're like, yo, you losing weight, you looking good. But now it's like, we don't even know it's you. Like, I'm telling you, like, I stood in front of like people, let's say like MOP, right? And they was like, and they gave me a dap, but they didn't know who I was.
Yeah, just for being cordial.
Right. Like, they give you the cordial, yo, what up? And then you go, oh, that's it? So, and then let's say Tech will go, so y'all ain't gonna know that was Chubby Chub? Nah, that ain't Chub. Hell no, that ain't Chub. You know what I mean? So they be like, oh shit. Like, they bug out.
I swear, when I saw you at that finesse party, if I hadn't seen pictures on Facebook, I would not have known. Because when I saw you, I was like,
right,
yo, because I saw the pictures already. So it's like, yo, you're really you. That I was like, I don't know if you saw my face when I saw you, but I'm like, yo, it's like, proud, but like still shocked, because it's like, yo, this is not you're not who I knew coming up, And like I said, it's definitely that's why I'm asking you, because like I said, I know you get the stares like, who are you?
I get that a lot. I get a lot of double take. A lot of people be like, nah, that ain't you. That's crazy.
I get it from my hair, so I can imagine.
Yeah, because you used to have a little fade and all that.
But
yeah, how many people say, yo, they seen you in paper thin?
No, I still get that. I had somebody hit me about 2 weeks ago, and they're like, yo, tell me I'm not bugging, but was that you in the paper thin video? I'm like, first off, that was 30 plus years ago. And I'm like, yeah, yo, the people say I look the same.
No, you look the same. It's just that you got the hair. The hair.
Yeah. Like when my hair is braided, like they'll see my face more. Because people tell me like when my hair is braided,
you look the same, son.
Yeah.
There's nothing. The only thing is that your chin strap is great.
Exactly.
And you know what I mean? Your hair is wild. But if you went and did a fade and put your joint together, you look like the same nigga with the gray hair. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's all it is. Nothing in your face changed. See me? Yeah. Everything changed.
I was like, yeah, your face is like this when your face was like this before.
Yeah, when I had the apple pie face.
Yeah.
And I had the double neck. You know what I mean? So now it's like,
and then you have the
wow.
curly hair, and you wear the hat now, and so it's not as like, because if you have the curly hair, still in the way that you had it before, the face was still round as opposed to it being more like,
it's more structured. Now I got a jawline, you know what I mean? Now I got a little jawline. You know, I'm thinking 60 plus model stage in life, you know what I mean?
I know one thing. There are people that's watching this now, or that when they do watch this, it will look like that's not Chubby Chub.
There's a lot of people that's doing that
now, and I know you, so that's why, like I said, it's like I can imagine, like I said, you walking up to somebody and they're looking at you like, "Yo, what's up?" And then you're like,
"It was a lot of that. Trust me." People be like, "Nah, I don't know who you are." I'm like, "Damn, you don't know me?" And I'd be like, "That's crazy." Text said, I gotta get a T-shirt with the old picture of me on it.
Yes, I'm Chubby Chub.
Like, everybody got the hello stickers. Hello, my name is. So he said you got to get a T-shirt with the old Chub on it.
Because I swear I would think that you were impersonating yourself if I didn't see those pictures. I'd be like, "You're not Chubby Chub." Nigga, I know Chubby Chub. Get the fuck out of my face.
Everybody does it, and everybody be like, "Nah, you ain't Chub," because not everybody's on social media. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And if they are, they're not really looking at your page like that. So that's why, you know, I get it when people say, you did Ozempic, you on surgery, you did the surgery. Like, nah, I did nothing but bust my ass every day to this day.
I was actually on Ozempic. But that was for my diabetes, not because of
diabetes. Yeah, but see,
it didn't work for me at all.
But it's different if you're taking it because of diabetes.
Yeah, of course,
People are buying it over the counter, just initially taking it without having the authorization of how many units to take.
Exactly.
So the drastic weight that you're losing makes it even worse because now you got mad sag.
Exactly.
Mad sag. Your skin look. From all the weight that I lost, I don't have no sag. I got a minimum of fat because I did it right.
That's what I was scared of. Like I said, when I'm losing my weight, I'm like, I don't want but at the same time, I'm not that big where the expansion isn't like other people I've seen. Because I'm like, it might happen to me. Did you freeze? Okay, I was.
No, I'm here. I'm sorry. Because I was supposed to be on Twitch at 7.
Oh, you know what? I appreciate your time. Like I said,
I'm like, "Yo, what's up?"
That's the only problem with me. It's like when I have a conversation with people, like it's just like a regular conversation that people are just tuning into. But let people know how they can, where they can hear you, like what your Twitch identification, things of that nature.
Twitch at DJ Chubby Chub, everything, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, DJ Chubby Chub. Not 2 B's, because I'm not Chub Rock. No disrespect. Funny story. I'll tell you about that one day. When I met Chub Rock. But and on Twitch, DJ Chubby Chub as well. And come through, rock out with me. I'll be there tonight. It's gonna be I'm on Twitch Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Tuesdays and Thursdays 4 p.m. Fridays is 7 p.m. and Saturdays is noon. And I just do Saturdays is all throwbacks, good times. It's called Good Times, and I just do nothing but throwbacks and things like that. And also oh man, I forgot. I do 94.7 The Block in New York on Tuesdays. I do the 12 o'clock lunchbox mix, R.I.P. Mr. C with Cypher Sounds. I do that on Tuesdays at 12 o'clock, along with Ted Smooth, Doo-Wop, Max Glazer, and Cypher Sounds. And then Tuesdays and also Tuesday nights, 7 p.m. and Thursday nights, the Juice 93.7. Follow me on Instagram. You can see what I'm doing, see what's cooking.
Well, I definitely appreciate your time and the conversation. We'll definitely talk again. Like I said, I'm good. Probably see
you definitely. Because my friends are better than yours. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And thanks to everybody that stayed with us. And
I appreciate everybody.
Definitely. And like I said,
rock with us.
And like I said, my friends are better than yours. And if you don't think so, show me, and I'll prove you wrong. Until the next time, BIGCED, Dennis Rico sign, DJ Chubby Chub. if you're live with us right now, just move over to Twitch. Watch
Yeah,
it.
come to Twitch. Rock out.
Make it because I'm
watch me move and watch me dance.
Exactly.
Let me get these last 5,000 steps.
Once again, thanks again. Until next time.
You're ready.
Definitely.